Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Words of Heart podcast. I'm your host, Dion Sanchez, and joining me in this episode is Carrie Leaf. Did I say that right?
You did, yes.
I always mess up my guests' last names for some reason, but thank you for joining me, Carrie.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. My pleasure.
Awesome. So, Carrie, if you could start us off by sharing with my audience a bit about yourself, that would be great.
Yes. So I am a holistic mindset coach. I have a long background in psychotherapy. Like I said, holistic, I like to take approach where I'm looking at mind, body, spirit. One of my central focuses to my practice is identifying negative belief systems that we might have that are in our way, keeping us stuck in life. So identifying those and reprocessing those so that we can just kind of either heal, move forward, let go, or level up.
Awesome. So do you mind sharing an example of one of those negative beliefs?
Yeah, no problem. So there is like a whole bunch of different, your negative belief can be anything, but there's some common ones such as I'm not good enough, I'm not in control, I'm not lovable, I won't succeed, things along those lines.
Interesting. So considering what you practice as far as making sure we have the right mindset and are not thinking of negative terms, do you find your practice has been beneficial considering we're still in the pandemic season, isolated, quarantine? We really don't know what to do with ourselves still. Do you find that it's been helpful to those during this?
Yes, I think it kind of applies to anything, everything at any time in life. It's something, that we're always going through life and experiencing different things. So we have probably a handful of negative belief systems that we've created up until where we are now, and we can work on those, but then we're going to continue throughout life to possibly take on more negative belief systems. So, it's very possible and likely that just over the last couple of years with the pandemic and all the changes and all the things going on in the world and people's lives, that they're kind of ingraining deeper an already existing negative belief or possibly even developing a new negative belief.
Absolutely. So how long have you been doing your practice? 5 years, 1,000 years? Please explain how you got started with that, because it's a really interesting profession, and I'm sure it can also be a bit stressful, I'm sure at times.
Sure. Pros and cons to anything, but I absolutely love it. It's my passion. I have been in the field of psychology for over a decade now, working in hospital settings, getting my undergraduate degree in psychology and sociology, and then my master's in marriage and family therapy, and then doing, like I said, hospital settings, community mental health settings, National Guard, substance abuse, university settings, all across the board. And now I've been in private practice for, oh goodness, I think about 7 years now, somewhere around there. And all along the way, just kind of honing in my specialty in shifting from different populations and getting lots of different experiences in all those different areas.
Awesome. So I'm sure, I don't know if you do this in your practice. I'm sure there's some extent or level you do this, but can you share some coping strategies or methods to my audience who may not be familiar with your holistic practice?
Yeah, so there is going to be a lot of differences in what works for different people. Coping skills can be really individual. So for some people, one thing's going to work, and then for the next, it won't. So it really is important to figure out what are your coping skills, what work for you, and to have a whole bunch of them, to have a toolbox for that. But, because on any given day, let's say one of my coping skills is to be outside. Well, we just got 4 inches of snow last night. So not really my ideal to go outside right now, right? So I've got to have a different coping skill. And actually in my book, I walk through my approach of gaining those, that foundation of healthy self-care and coping skills, things like eating well, getting good sleep, exercising, for having the basics of taking care of our body. And then, yeah, coping skills could be music. It could be exercise. It could be spending time with friends. It could be writing, journaling, all kinds of different things across the board.
Interesting. So you mentioned you have a book. Do you have it with you right now if you want to share?
I do.
My audience?
Yeah. So this is my book, Therapize Yourself. And that is on Amazon, or you can find a link to it on my website as well.
Awesome. So is that your first book you've written?
It is, yes. It's my first book. It came out in October. And you can check out some reviews on Amazon as well.
Awesome. So what inspired you to write your book? Obviously, you're really passionate about holistic coaching. I don't know the right term.
Coaching works, yeah.
Holistic coaching. But to write a book cannot be an easy endeavor, combining the passions. So what inspired you to write your book?
Yeah. So, like I mentioned, I've worked in a lot of different settings, over my career. And I found that it didn't matter who I was working with, not always necessarily what age, within reason, what kind of population, what issue we were working on. There were some basics that I was going to walk every single client through, no matter who they are or what we're working on. And so the book is really kind of that step-by-step approach that I have developed for how I like to work with clients and how I see the most progress and success with the clients that I'm working with. So like I said, the basics there are taking a holistic approach, looking at and integrating mind, body, spirit, seeing where we're at in each of those areas and getting that wellness foundation balanced and grounded. Scanning different environments in our life, where our finances, our relationships, our career, our health, things like that. And just getting that basic footing, and then identifying our problem, what's the issue that we want to work on, and delving deeper into that, which is the step of looking at what are our negative belief systems behind the problem that are keeping us stuck.
Absolutely. I truly admire you for sharing that and finding the root cause of all our problems, because in order for us to prosper and or thrive, we really have to remove what's holding us back from the past, if you will. It has a tendency to warp and manipulate our mindset into thinking something it perhaps shouldn't. And as far as practices I've done, having this podcast and helping others with their mind, body, and spirit is one of my, in a way, my own form of therapy for them and an outlet for them, because the world can be pretty negative and draining as far as our perspective of ourselves. So.
Yes. And I like that you use the word, root cause, because, in our modern medical setup, it's oftentimes we're looking at throwing, meds or quick fixes to the symptoms and not interconnecting that mind, body, spirit, and not getting to the root cause. And it's a big problem. That's why, I really stress the holistic health part.
Absolutely. Just to give you some insight into me, as far as my own health journey or mental health journey, if you will, my life has been filled with tons of curveballs in the realm of my body and my mind and spirit in general. And for the first 2 years of my life, I couldn't hear her talk. So I had to overcome that particular obstacle automatically, because hey, I'm talking, so that didn't really last, obviously. But I had to overcome a plethora of issues as a result of that, and my body and my mind, and just evolving and functioning at perhaps a little bit of a slower rate as a result of my health issues when I was born, and just overcoming and just not letting my past or my circumstances define me. If I think that's the right wordage I'm using, as far as that I'm more than my circumstances. You're more than what you are putting into your brain. You could be in control of the situation. It's just a matter of how you control the situation or react to the situation. And I chose to react to positively and overcoming, and here we are.
Yes, exactly. Because you could choose to go a totally different route with that. You know, it doesn't always feel like a choice, but sometimes we get stuck in that negative mindset or the harsh things that we tell ourselves. We're our own worst critics. You know, we can really beat ourselves up, and it just can keep us very stuck in a negative, dark place. But like you said, you chose to go a positive route, write a positive story, and it makes a world of difference.
Absolutely. Also, just to give you a full spectrum of my life, I actually got diagnosed with diabetes at the start of the pandemic as well. 2020, the year we all want to hate. And I completely understand everyone's reason for hating it. It's really a collective thought, all of us wanting to hate 2020 with good reason, obviously. But for me, I couldn't really hate it as much as everybody else, because there was a very likely chance, it's not even likely, it's a hardcore fact that I could have died if I hadn't been diagnosed when I was. So I wouldn't have been able to witness 2020 and continue working on my body, my spirit, and prioritizing making sure I have the right foods in my body, and I'm focusing on what truly, truly matters. So my mental health and my body, my health journey, if you will, did continue to grow even further once I got diagnosed, which I saw it as a real blessing in disguise, because I wouldn't be here right now if I didn't have that happen to me. I mean, it did happen during the pandemic, which my heart goes out to anyone who's been affected or diagnosed with anything during this pandemic. It's certainly not ideal situation because there was no vaccine at this point, but all the more fortunate and glad for the diagnosis either way, because I have a chance to continue writing my story the way I see fit, and just hopefully making an impact through my podcast and other people's lives.
Yeah, that's like you said, that's a big curveball right there. And it how we respond to these sort of things is just key. You know, how am I going to take this in and process it and view it, and what way am I going to choose to look at it, and where am I going to take action? And it's a big difference, you know. But with that being said, it's also, you know, we don't want to go the route of like toxic positivity where we're pretending like everything's perfect and rainbows and butterflies, right? We also want to allow ourselves to feel and grieve and go through it as well.
Yes, all of our emotion makes us who we are. We don't want to put a mask up or fake that happiness. I truly advocate for authenticity and being real and owning who you are, all the bandages and scars of that comes with that, because that's a part of who we are.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Awesome. So I'm going to get to the icebreaker segment, which is my favorite part because it makes me laugh a lot. I'll just start with a question, which is super easy. And you might nail it already because you're already an author. And the question is, if you had to come up with a title or chapter, I make it simple, a title or chapter for where your life is at this precise moment in time, what would it be? And if you could elaborate on your answer, that would be even better.
Yeah. Mine, I think, would be, you know, this past couple of years have really put me into looking at my health journey in general. You know, like I already am all about mind, body, spirit, health as a whole. But I've looked a little more specifically into physical health the past couple of years for a handful of different reasons. And I have looked at different alternative options of how I can take care of myself, and really learned to tailor that. So I suppose maybe maybe that the title or chapter would be something along the lines of like alternative healing or functional medicine, integrative medicine, something along those lines, where I've explored, we're all so different. What works for me isn't what works for somebody else, and vice versa. But tailoring my health journey, as I've looked into functional medicine, as I've developed some self-care routines with chiropractor, and I've looked into what works for my body for weight loss and maintaining my weight, things like intermittent fasting, what foods are good for me, how much exercise is really my good balance for me, really individualizing and tailoring and understanding that there is not a one size fits all for anyone to be healthy or the healthiest, feel their best, get the most energy, lose weight, anything like that. And part of that journey also was kind of trying to find not only how do I feel the best physically, but also, getting my body back after having twins. But I mean, they're 4 now. So, I waited a while. Took some time to get on that journey, but, getting comfortable in my own skin, my own body again after having twins. So I hope that answered the question.
I believe it did. It answered it and so much more. I truly admire your answer, and also the fact that you're a mom and an author and do so much for everyone in general. It just really shows your character and the depths of your heart and spirit, truly.
So thank you.
So my answer, I already gave you my life in a nutshell pretty much. So this answer shouldn't come as much as a surprise. And my title and/or chapter would be A Warrior for Change. I faced a lot of speed bumps in my life, and it always seems to be a bumpy road, never smooth, but life isn't smooth in general when you think of the grand scheme of things. So being a warrior for change really symbolizes and reflects my life's journey and who I am and how I've evolved and grown over time, and just how it's basically my mantra in a way. It was placed on my heart, warrior, when I got diagnosed with diabetes because I'm a Christian, and I felt God called me to be a warrior for change at that precise moment. Of course, I didn't know how, but eventually that led to me launching my podcast. So being a warrior for change really is symbiotic, in regards to my podcast, is symbiotic to my own personal journey. And I just really feel that is what represents who I am right now and moving forward. So
yes, great answer. I love that.
Thank you. So on to the absolutely best part. And I don't tell you guys this ahead of time because it's spontaneous and fun. So that is the icebreaker game for all my listeners. You know what that means. So the icebreaker game is called Song Association. You don't have to be an avid singer. You could be a karaoke singer, a shower singer, a yodeler. Although one of my last guests did yodel one of these words, which has never been done before. So apparently it is possible to yodel these words. So my question I ask every time, can you yodel any of these words, is possible, but you don't have to yodel it, obviously. That's just for sheer fun, obviously. So how it works is I give you a word. You can either sing it, rap it, yodel it, use whatever vocal capabilities you want, which I'm sure that are in existence. And it can either be in the song title or in the lyrics. It has to be an actual song. You cannot make it up. Many people have tried, which makes it's still a fun game, but it has to be an actual song, and it can't be the name of an artist. It can be like Popcorn Hill or JoJo Loggin or whatever the person's name is. It has to be an actual song. However, and this is where the fun part comes, you don't have the luxury of time. You have 15 seconds from the time I give you the word to sing it, rap it, yodel it, however you choose to do that, and say it in the song title or in the lyrics. So
okay.
It's not complicated words, trust me. It's not like bargain, snargain, or any of those foreign words. It's really simple words.
All right.
So let's get started. So the first word is heart.
Heartbreak Hotel, and I can't even think of the B or the just the title. That's all I got.
I guess I'll give you that. All right, so the next word is words.
Words.
Mm-hmm.
Words. I got nothing.
If it makes you feel better, many people get stumped on the second word, even though it's such a simple word, obviously.
Right? Like,
it has word in it. But some not random, but some rare answers people have given is from the band Extreme called More Than Words.
no.
I just know it because of another artist covering it. And then there's what's the song called that someone's given? Bird, 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 bird is the word. Bird, bird, bird.
Yes.
They've given that answer, which is hysterical. So the last word, I believe in you. I believe you can do this word.
I don't know. I'm not sure if I got enough sleep last night. Okay, let's do it.
So the last word is believe.
Okay. I believe I can fly. Oh, yeah. Yes.
Right. That was the first time someone sung something with that word.
Really?
Yes, no one has been able to. I mean, there's Don't Stop Believing, but no one has. I'm so happy. You're the first person to sing a song with that word.
Yes.
Yay.
Yes, even with a lack of sleep and all.
We can keep singing a bunch of songs with the word believe, obviously, but we're at the end of this winding road of conversation and song aesthetics, if you will. So, Carrie, before we wrap up here, do you have any links to share with my audience where people can find your book? Is your book going to end up being a movie? Give us the inside scoop as to how my audience can get in touch with you.
Yeah, so the book is on Amazon, and then also my website, carrieleaf.com, and hopefully the next step is the book will be a self-paced course, an online course that you can jump on and walk through, the exercises and the book in that way as well. And that, like I said, will be on my website, carrieleaf.com. And then I would say the other platform would be Instagram at Carrie Leaf Coaching.
Awesome. Thank you so much again for joining me, Carrie. This was a wonderful conversation and totally opened up my mind a bit as far as us looking within ourselves and also not hiding our flaws, if you will.
Yes, absolutely. And I love how you're just sharing your life and spreading the word and the warrior and within you. It's amazing. Good work.
Thank you. So to all my listeners, thank you for joining us on this latest episode of the Words of Heart podcast. If you enjoyed it, if it resonated with you in some way, here are the following ways to listen to it on the following platforms. You can find us on Facebook at the Words of Heart podcast. We're also on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, and Google. Don't hesitate to subscribe, retweet, follow on any of the platforms I've just mentioned. It makes a difference truly and extends the message of my podcast all the more further. So please don't hesitate to do so. If you are listening to it from the moon, I like to mention this in every episode, Carrie. If you are listening to it from the moon, let me know. I still want intergalactic broadcasting to happen. It could have occurred in 2020, 2022, that magical day that we all love. But until then, from all of us here at the Words of Heart podcast. Stay healthy, stay safe. If you want to get in touch with me for any reason, non-galactic or beyond, you can do so on Twitter at HeartWarrior24 and on Instagram at HeartWarrior25. So again, thank you for joining me, Carrie Leaf. I'm your host, Deanna Sanchez. So stay healthy, stay safe, and until next time. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.